Right here we have ourselves a Trane Heat Exchanger. In this brief review, we are going to go over what to look for in the degradation of this style heat exchanger. The Trane Voyager heat exchanger is very reliable, and with other than igniters, combustion draft motors, and ignition controls, there are not many components to go bad. I've changed very few of these gas valves over the years, so they are a pretty steady component. Okay, the real action with a heat exchanger is occurring on the inside. Very little can be told from the outside because the outside is not subjected to adverse conditions. It's strictly, the normal airstream going across it. Nitrogen and oxygen with a little mix of the other stuff. But the combustion gases are quite acidic, and this is where the degradation takes place. Let's take a look at this 7.5 ton heat exchanger we have here from a Trane Voyager with the serial number of P, which is 1999, which makes this a 13-year-old unit. You really should start looking at them after 10 years because that's, unless it's an environment with a lot of corrosion present, like a pool. Pools really will corrode from the outside, but seldom do they corrode from the outside. It's usually from the inside out because that's where the combustion gases are, and once again they're quite acidic. You got sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, you got carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. So all these gases form, an acidic compound. And once, and the funny part is that a lot of this degradation takes place during the summer. Well, this heat exchanger is exposed to low temperatures, and with high humidities on the outside, you get condensing on the inside. So, let's take a better look at this. I usually like to start with the seams, because it seems to be a weak spot on all manufacturers of heat exchangers. If you look around here, and as you come up close, you can see that this seam is here. Often we use a screwdriver just to check it because you can see what happens. And you can see that this heat exchanger all along there is the seam is got corrosion and is taking place. Now, a lot of times, and once again, well, let's go through. A lot of times we'll use the screwdriver to, like we have it right here. This it wouldn't be noticed, but this is on the inside out. You're going to see this. Here, let me see it. A lot of times I'll use a screwdriver and just see what goes on. You can get it right in there. I mean, basically you got a hole. Almost looks like a drill, but it isn't. You're just shoving in the screwdriver. I really wouldn't recommend doing that because you never know when you'll get a customer who won't believe that the corrosion was actually there. So, if at all possible, always leave the corrosion present, like right here. Instead of twisting your screwdriver, just leave it exposed so that they can see. So, you've been able to push your screwdriver through. Like I said, you probably really shouldn't round it out because it'll, you can be falsely accused. But you can see where the degradation has taken place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this tube now and then slice it with a nibbler so that you can look at the inside and actually see what it looks like on the inside. Because once again, that's where the damage is taking place. Okay, once again, a lot of times I use a screwdriver to probe because that's really how you can tell the weakness in the metal. A lot of times, like an old car, you see a paint bubble and you think that it's just a surface piece, but you chip that bubble away and you will find that there's nothing but rust and there is no integrity left in the product. So, as you can see, you cannot push a screwdriver through a good heat exchanger. It's not possible. But I'll tell you what, when you find a spot like right there, I can push right through it. Look at that. And that's how you can tell that if it's bad enough to push a screwdriver through, you can be pretty sure that you got a condition that is unsafe for your occupants. Anyway, yeah, like I said, you know, a lot of these spots don't look, you know, you have corrosion, but right there was a spot I was able to push through. Each of these are present, you know, and you can tell that these are going to be weak spots. 10 to 1 when we get done, if you see these dark spots along the way, and when I slice open, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take these and dissect them. The other, you know, once again, we're into using the screwdriver as a probe. And you can really tell that, you know, where you have weak spots. As you can see, you will see a dimple trying to go through this with, and this is actually a fairly sharp screwdriver. If you used even a broader head, you'd be doing, here, let me show you on this. Look at the denting that's going on. I mean, when a heat exchanger is, the integrity's there, you cannot go through without denting great big dimples. Damn. Oh, there, I made it through. Okay, now, here would be the telltale sign if you went in and you rounded your screwdriver. Notice that you would have a great big dimple there where that screwdriver went through. To prove my point here, I'm going to go through this side right here where we know that there's a crack. And I mean, it's barely a touch. Do it again. Right there. We know that's a weak spot. It isn't all the way through. Well, I guess it is. You can see the corrosion right on through. So, if you poked a screwdriver through a spot that was had decent integrity, you are going to have a great big dimple there. And the bigger screwdriver you use, the bigger the dimple. With all heat exchangers, once you do find the degradation, there really isn't much you can do but throw a temporary repair and replace it. There isn't a manufacturer that has an authorized repair. There was once in the mid-70s, I remember Resner had a kit for Nesbitt units, but that was a back plate where they were always cracking along the backside and the factory didn't want to recall them. But on Tranes or any other manufacturer of a modern day furnace, if you have degradation and you have holes in it, all you can do is use a muffler tape to put a temporary repair on and then replace it as soon as you can. You got to remember that you are now liable for all those people down that this unit is serving. Now, you'll be able to tell from the inside whether you have, if it was a spun-in screwdriver or a drill bit, just by looking at the inside. Now, you can see that you would expect some of the metal to be flapped over, and you could actually take a look at that, but it was so deteriorated that it just has the raw edge. But you can tell that it had gone right straight through. There's another spot that's getting pretty close. Here, and I am actually going to take this while you're there, and let's take a look at a bisection of it. Notice this side has nothing on it. Let's see if we can see how much thinner that surface area is getting on these. And you can actually see it is getting pretty thin if you take the burr out of there and look at it from the side there. You can see how thin that's getting. This spot right here, even though on this side you weren't showing other than that little decoloration, is actually wearing through and just about to match this guy over here. Anyway, and you can feel it too. It's a noticeable decrease in the wall thickness. Take a look here. You can see that I can actually, right there I can bend it. There, the whole thing bends. So right there, you see how that's breaking away? So that was a weak spot also, just right there. But it wasn't all the way through, so it probably had another year in it. Anyway, those are the ways you can tell if a Trane heat exchanger is compromised or whether it is good. Next, we're going to take a look at how to make your ACs run efficient and cool all summer long by splitting those condenser coils.